What is going on, YouTube? Well, I'm back again for another SABATON reaction. If you're curious where I've been, it's been a while. It's been about 4 months or so. Check out the video I just released a few days ago called Channel Update, something like that. It's a picture of me on a milk carton. I thought it was appropriate. But I don't want to take too much time explaining everything. There is a slight twist to that video, though. In that video, I said I didn't currently have COVID. Turns out I do. So I won't be going back to work until the 10th, and it's the 6th right now. So feel a little better. I saw that SABATON dropped a Yarn Hub animated story of the Red Baron, which I know was one of their older songs from at least 2 years ago. I know their other video was from then. And it's a song I haven't heard before. And also, this may shock you, I know nothing about the Red Baron. The only thing I know is that Snoopy used to pretend to be the Red Baron. I don't know, when they were token behind the doghouse or something, but I don't know anything about the Red. I think it's also a pizza company too. And for those of you looking at me crazy, say, oh, history buff, I have a short disclaimer here from fellow historian and metal goddess Brittany Slays. So like when I cover bands like SABATON and stuff, World War II stuff, you're like, oh, Mr. History buff, you should have known this. I'm like, no clue.
No. There's so much. I mean, how could you can't know everything about everything, right? So
never.
There's just too much. It's too much. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, like Brittany says, learning history, you can't learn it all, right? My concentration's in medieval Europe, and I don't even know, everything there is to know about that, obviously. So, and the other thing, I didn't even research this at all, going into it totally blind, because I know these animated stories do a great job of teaching the whole damn thing. So let's just dive in, check it out, and see what we get. Okay, so I lied. I do know a little bit. I mean, I guess Red Baron was an ace pilot. I imagine in World War I always kind of thought it was World War II, but looking at the planes, the open cockpits, and the biplane, it's definitely World War I probably. And that's it. Basically, obviously it was on the German side of things. That's it. So let's go ahead and check it out. And looking at this picture, he looks an awful lot like Joachim. That's interesting. Okay. So without further ado, let's check it out, guys. I know it's been a while. Over 4 months, at least. So here we go.
It's January 1917, and in an airfield, a young pilot is directing men to paint his Albatross fighter. Other pilots look on in awe. This young pilot with 16 victories to his name is the new commander of Yasta 11. It contains many elite and legendary pilots, but none can compare to this young man, stood bolt upright. He knows he is better than anyone else out there. The work is done. The plane stands in all its scarlet Teutonic glory. The pilot is Manfred von Richthofen, and on this day, the day he chose to paint his plane bright red, it is the birth of a new name, a legendary name that will never die. The Red Baron. Success after success came to Yasta 11 under the Red Baron's tutelage. Richthofen had been a student of a genius aviation tech.
Wait, did you see the colors of those planes? That's interesting. So, one thing really quick to keep in mind, I'm sure they're going to get into this maybe, I don't know. But what was this? It said 1917? Do you realize when aviation started? I'm not going to look like an idiot and say it because I don't really know, but only a few years at this point, really. Just a few years. So, flying a plane is something very new. It's something that, certainly wasn't perfected or anything like that. And here they are making the guy is becoming an ace, where before it was probably just kind of like okay, I guess we'll wing it. Wing it and do our best, but look at that shit. They really bedazzled those things. I'm really wondering if that really happened, but we'll see. Okay.
Red Baron's tutelage. Richthofen had been a student of a genius aviation tactician named Oswald Bolka. Bolka's dictates were the essential rules for successful air combat. Richthofen embraced them, taught them, and enhanced them.
How can I be like you?
Aim for the man and don't miss him. He urged his men to fight on and fly on to the last drop of blood and the last drop of fuel, to the last beat of the heart. Richthofen and his Jaster 11 would become the nemesis of the Royal Flying Corps. The Jaster 11 in the heavens would seem like gods or demons to those on the ground. Stuck in the mud and the trenches, seeing the red whirling beast spitting fire overhead, the Germans whispered his name in awe, Der Rote Kampfflieger. The Allies whispered it in equal fear and awe, the Red Baron. But there was one thing that all sides agreed upon. He was the king of the sky.
Okey-doke. All right, we're starting with the music. So yeah, I don't want to go out on too many limbs here because I know people know a lot about this stuff, and I don't know much at all. But I do know that, you know, a lot of these pilots, I don't think they had parachutes. Maybe they did. I don't know, but I don't really think so. A lot of them ended up just burning alive in the cockpits or jumping out when things got hairy, you know. But yeah, flying a plane, it's not like it would have been even in World War II or, you know, or certainly like today with a lot of safety mechanisms in place, and they don't even have air, you know, they're up there real high. And so yeah, you really have to appreciate and understand just how new this was, really. And that's all I'm going to offer. I'll try not to pause too much.
Man and machine and nothing there in between. The flying circus on the man from Russia. The sky in a plane, this man commands his domain. The western frontier all the way to Russia. Just from above, you're under fire. Still red as blood, it's roaming higher. Born a soldier from the horseback to the skies. That's where the legend will arise. And he's flying higher, the king of the sky. He's flying too fast and he's flying too high. Higher, an eye for an eye, the legend will never die. First to the scene, he is a lethal machine. He's not the April and the tide is turning. Fire at will, it is the thrill of the kill. For invasion down with engines burning. Embrace the flame with a squadron leader. Call out his name, Rote Kampfflieger. In the game to win, the gambler rolls the dice. 80 allies paid the price. And he's flying higher, the king of the sky.
All right, before that chorus here, it's been a while. It's hard to get in a groove of when to stop and stuff, but I do want to comment on what they said there. From the horse to the sky. One of the things that I find the coolest about World War One is that it was the first war that happened like directly in the midst of, or directly after, I guess, the initial phases of like the Industrial Revolution. So, like they're saying, when they started in World War One, a lot of the tactics were still like from the Franco-Prussian wars and like you know, even like the French Revolution, the French Revolutionary Wars and things like that. They used a lot of the same tactics, a lot of the same technologies. Horses, they used a lot of horses and things. And in that short 4 years of the war, and unfortunately a lot of innovations came because of the war, whether it was killing people through, you know, innovations in artillery and weapons and things. But the first ambulances, right? Because we were just seeing the automobile for the first time. We're just seeing the airplane for the first time and all this stuff. So in that short 4 years, they went from a very, just a very antiquated way of fighting until by the end of it, it was a whole other situation. So you go from using horses, now you're flying planes. Now there's tanks toward the end of the war, right? And things like that. So just And medicine. Actually, I did one of my papers was on medical innovations that just came out of World War One, simply because there was so many people to practice on. As sick as that sounds, so much death and destruction, and so a lot of medical advances here. So I just wanted to make a comment on that. So. No oxygen. That's badass. Finally meet his match.
Born a soldier from the horseback to the skies, and the legend never dies. And he's flying, and he's flying, and he's flying higher. The king of the sky, he's flying too fast and he's flying too high. Higher, an eye for an eye, the legend will never die. Higher, the king of the sky, he's flying too fast and he's flying too high. Higher, an eye for an eye, the legend will never die.
Don't tell me he really did that. That'd be badass if he did.
His injuries caused him repeated issues, with headaches and nausea. He also suffered a change in mood and temperament, which became darker. The thrill of combat lessened. He wrote, "I am in wretched spirits after every aerial combat. I believe that the war is not as the people at home might imagine it, with a hurrah and a roar. It's very serious, very grim."
Sucked.
On April the 21st, 1918, the Red Baron got into his famous Fokker triplane and took off into the morning sky. It was the flight that would bring his life to an end. He spotted a Sopwith camel and gave chase. This time, it seems, he may not have realized he was behind enemy lines while chasing the Sopwith at a very low altitude. At the time, due to wind conditions and the moving of the front lines, he uncharacteristically continued the chase too far. In the last moments of his life, he managed to make a rough landing in a field north of the village of Vaux-sur-Somme. Several Australian servicemen rushed up to the downed triplane to hear the Red Baron's last words. Kaput. The king of the sky was dead, but his legend would never die. The Red Baron was treated with great respect and was interred with full military honours by the personnel of No. 3 Squadron, Australian Flying Corps. Allied squadrons stationed nearby came to pay their respects. Memorial wreaths were laid, one of which was inscribed with the words, "To our gallant and worthy foe."
Was that the green scarf guy? Oh, that's cool. Wow. So you don't have to research. It's all right there for you, right? So, okay, let's go. All right, so pretty cool. Pretty cool. I mean, not too much to say. Yarnhub always does a great job. Of course, the music. I mean, it did sound a little unique for Sabaton, a different sound. Sometimes after a while, I feel like their sound kind of, but gosh, they crank out so many songs. It's like, and they all have to be somewhat epic usually and have that same kind of drive to them. So to change it up is probably pretty difficult. But but another banger of a song, good one. But yeah, I'm glad I checked it out. It dropped, I think, 24 hours ago. So awesome. And I do feel like definitely getting more back on schedule with making more videos. You notice things are a little different behind me. Again, check out that video update on my channel if you want to know what's going on. Nothing too crazy. I definitely am going to go to a live stream after this. So if you're watching this, probably a good hour after I drop this, come over and visit, check it out. I'm going to, maybe after today, it'll be a little different. I'm going to try to start streaming more on Twitch just so it doesn't completely obliterate my algorithm on YouTube. It's kind of a catch-22, the way things are set up. So, but either way, good to be back. Hope to see you all in the comments, but until then, be safe, healthy, and nice to each other.